Hi everyone, just before we get into another episode of What a Load of Bulls, we just want to give a shout out to our partners, Newcastle Car and Truck Rental. Newcastle Car and Truck Rental are a locally owned company servicing Newcastle and the Hunter. Todd Holden and family pride themselves on being part of the local community, and you feel that when you step through their doors. It isn't a different person every time you call, it's the same people taking care of business and taking care of you. So next time you're in need of a rental, be it a truck to move, a ute for those everyday DIY jobs, or a car to get the family around on a day out, be sure to contact the team at Newcastle Car and Truck Rental by visiting www.newcastlerental.com or by calling 02 49 081 081. And don't forget to tell them DJ and Simon sent you. Here we go again, folks. Episode 54 of the What a Load of Bulls podcast. If you didn't listen to last week's part 1 of Barrie Lester, where were ya? Get back there. Make sure you listen to it because we've got part 2 coming up. Simon, what do you think?
Yep. Looking forward to the remainder of this chat that we had with Baz and his sort of more off-green stuff towards the end of his Jackaroo's career and what he does now in terms of his coaching and bless stuff and his commentary stuff and BPL, all that kind of things that you see him now on TV, and he's definitely at the forefront of sort of the media within Bulls, and yeah, we have a good chat to him about that kind of stuff. So looking forward to that.
He's never shied away from a camera or a microphone, has he?
No, he hasn't. No.
All right, folks, straight into it. It was a long chat, so we'll get right into it. Barrie Lester, everyone, part 2. Back into it, mate, righto. So, 2 games you've been to, both home games. Mate, just compare them from a point of view of the games as the games, like how Melbourne put the show on, how the Gold Coast put the show on. Give us a bit of comparison for that, mate. But just from your perspective too, Melbourne, fresh-faced, maybe didn't expect to be there. Gold Coast, battled back into it, somewhat of a veteran amongst the squad. Different feel to the games for you as a player, as an athlete then?
Yeah, definitely taking in some previous learnings, but probably because I was a little bit older, even though we had, Wiz and Lurch numerically are older than me, but I mean, we all had a sort of similar experience, but and then Omar and Disco younger than us. I was really keen to sort of throw in a few of my ideas and opinions and vice versa and hear from the other players and then go, all right, embrace the crowd a little bit more. I know in 2006 I probably didn't look to the crowd once. Maybe find moments where you switch off from it too. So, a few of us didn't do social media in the village. We said, that might work for some, might not work for others. Some people said, well, because the only way we can get to the bowling venue at Broadbeach is by bus, we got timetables. Some people are like, well, do we leave with the girls to go and watch them play a 9 o'clock game and then know you don't play till 1, or do we leave at 8 o'clock, see the second half of the game and get some rest? And just trying to manage all that stuff. And that's where the support crew were brilliant. So there was a lot of that going on to know that, opening ceremony, for instance, Nathan and I and Omar had to play the next morning. Opening ceremony, you're pretty much not coming down from the buzz till 2-3 in the morning after you get home at midnight.
Yeah.
So we said we'll walk onto the arena, we'll walk half the footy oval, jump on a bus and head back to the village. So just trying to do all that stuff, trying to make sure that we were in sort of staying in our own lane too. But so that was all super important. And I mean, knowing that you're on the Gold Coast, you got a lot of home crowd. We know Broadbeach inside out. We know the greens. We know the speeds. We know the size of the draw and all that, and we know what it does in the afternoon and mornings, and what it does before and after rain and so on. So it was trying to put all that together, and we knew we had a great support crew around us, from sports psychs and all that to sports science. So it was definitely a games for that, and we did pretty well. So it was definitely different to 2006, especially having that double discipline opportunity.
Yeah, absolutely. You're really sort of touching, and we'll touch it a bit more with Jackaroo's camp later on, but you're really touching on, you sort of came in almost at the start of that HP high performance stuff, didn't you? And you've seen it develop to where it is now. So it'll be good to touch on that again later on, right? So it's another busy 2 years then, mate. Goal setting, trying to make World Bowls. Again, it's going to be on the Gold Coast in 2020. Mate, talk us through that roller coaster of emotions, because you got selected for it and then COVID hits. So talk us through that.
Yeah, 18. Yeah, walk away with a couple of medals.
Yeah.
It sort of puts you in good stead. Yeah, you didn't get the ultimate, but just to know, I had a really good tournament. I remember looking back on all my data, all my stats. You used to get your emails of stats. I really felt I had a great couple of weeks. So really happy with the way I performed. But moving forward, once again, you while you're playing at that level, you're not reflecting much at all. I mean, I can't really remember a time throughout my international career where you're just reflecting and looking at results and stuff. You are knowing and thinking of how you can get the best out of yourself moving forward, what stone needs to be turned. So, yeah, you move into 19, a couple of really big opportunities, Asia Pacific Games, 2-week event, you're playing 20-odd games, 2 disciplines, got picked for that, you beauty. Technically my first Asia Pacific Games, so tick that box. Played in all the majors available from Com Games, Worlds, Asias, Trans-Tasmans, etc. So that was something I was really proud of. And yeah, mentoring, putting your arm around a young kid like an Aaron Tees who debuts, that was pretty cool. And once again, knowing that it's not about you, not about where your bowl finishes and what kind of medal you can get. There's other opportunities. And Teesy and I roomed together for 2 weeks, and he's what was Teesy 7 years ago? I mean, he would have only been early 20s or something, and then I actually taught him how to, once his clothes come out of the wash, you got to flick them 3 or 4 times and then hang them up so they're not creased when they dry. So
take that, Teesy.
So for a couple of weeks, Teesy learnt that I was very OCD, kept everything nice and clean, in which he did too. But to this day, we always have a bit of a laugh about, I'm out in the lounge room there flicking all my clothes before I hang them on the clothes horse. What are you doing? What's that noise for, Bazza? I said, mate, you got to give them a flick 2 or 3 times so they don't crease when they dry. So, I mean, just getting to know Teesy, we've got those memories forever. We went undefeated, won 2 golds, so that was pretty cool. In the triples and fours, stood on the dais. Teesy gets to stand up there, and we sing the song and see the flag get raised. So that was pretty cool. Did that with Omar and Teesy and Lurch, and that was a great experience. And yeah, and then that put me into the running for International Bowler of the Year, voted by your peers, men and women. All the players have to put in the votes at the end of events to say who they think was the best performed players, and yeah, to make that final, that's a feather in your cap to go up against Omar as International Bowler of the Year. So just fell short there, but yeah, just honoured with the opportunity to be recognised like that by the fellow players, and then the big one, Australia versus the rest of the world. My goodness, how cool! Yeah, to play TV, Fox Sports, Moama, where I grew up an hour down the road in Bendigo. You're playing with the 4, I guess voted or selected best other players in Australia. I mean, it probably, in terms of recognition now, means more to me that I'm reflect on it than it did at the time, because you sort of, once again, you're thinking, all right, get that selection, all right, do well. Then you got to try and make World Bowls 2020. And yeah, and we won the series against the rest of the world at Miami. Great fun, great experience. I remember just a funny little story out of that trip. Yeah, we celebrated and we had a bit of a night out. And anyway, Omar lost his wallet in the back of the taxi. And hopefully, ideally, after you've had a bit of a night out, someone finds your wallet. Yeah. So thank God, Omar's wallet was returned to the police station. You beauty. Usually that's the first place it gets returned, or a phone. So once Omar knew that, we had to detour the next morning to the Echuca police station to pick up Omar's wallet. So we get there, we take a photo of Omar. This is 7:30 in the morning, walking out of the cop shop, and with his wallet, right? But unbeknownst to Steve Glasson, when we sent a photo to Steve Glasson, because Glass wasn't on the bus, we sent a photo to Glass of Omar leaving the cop shop at 7:30 in the morning. Glass quickly rang Omar and said, "What the hell's going on with you, son?" But I mean, they're the funny little stories and moments where you just come together as a team and share those moments. But the day before, Karen Murphy does a shoey, her last game ever for Australia. We cheer her off and does a good old Aussie shoey, and Kaz, goes out as a winner on TV, in which she so deserved. And once again, for me, I met Karen Murphy at the start of this podcast as a 17-year-old at St John's in my first ever trip out of the state for bowls, and here we are 19 years later in the same colours, seeing her get cheered off for her last game. So, I mean, they're the moments, they're the experiences. And, after we played that event against the world, it was focused to world champs. And, that day came around again. Miranda and I, we decided to take on the job at Burleigh Heads and move to Queensland. And a bit of that a portion of taking the job was obviously, a large portion was to help Burleigh Heads to really move forward. Good little club there down on the Gold Coast, and take on a great role in a bowls coordinator role and move interstate. And a few other reasons too, personal reasons. We wanted a bit of a fresh start ourselves. And I knew that, getting up to the Gold Coast, living on the Gold Coast and playing in the 2020 World Bowls would be really good to be environmentally conditioned. And, and we did it, and got picked for world champs, and someone decided to eat a bat or do something stupid.
Something happened weird in training, didn't
it? So obviously, got picked for those games, and it wasn't till really about March or April when COVID really hit, and what was meant to be, I think, the world champs in July, August, ultimately never went ahead.
Yeah, right. So, man, how was that? Was there much communication during lockdown? Like, I mean, it was tough for everyone. We were just basically locked in our houses. You could go out, do a bit of exercise, whatever. We're all locked down. You moved to Queensland at that time, so you didn't really get to experience how bad Victoria was, I suppose. But, mate, tough time for everyone. Was there much communication from management? Was there much communication amongst the squad itself? Like, how did they help you guys as athletes through that time?
Yeah, I must admit, Simon and DJ, it was fantastic. Because why I was so proud of Glass and the rest of the team, his crew around him, was because all the unknowns. And Glass really, he really said, let's come together from all around Australia. And there were Zooms of like 30 people, and we didn't know what Zoom was. And we talk about Zoom and all that now.
It's just norm now, isn't it? It wasn't 5 years ago.
At the time, Glass is like, we're going to, we're looking into this thing where we can all have video calls and that, and back then they didn't exist, but now here they are the norm. And it was embraced, and we had these dress up nights. 1 week was a theme where you had to wear a funky outfit and dress up, and you won prizes, and we were doing our best we could during COVID. And all Glass could continue to say was, with World Champs being scheduled for August or whenever it was, everything's still where it needs to be. Obviously, we don't know when COVID's going to go away. We don't know what's going to happen with these lockdowns, but the transparency was brilliant. The communication from the HP crew was great. So, no, it was really good, and we connected as much as we could throughout Zoom and online stuff, and still tried to maintain the best we could towards the program. And the main focus, obviously, immediate focus was getting the World Championships in.
Yeah, awesome. What stage to that process then made they just work out that it wasn't going to go ahead and then was scheduled for 2023?
Yeah, well, obviously Birmingham was starting to loom 2022, and quickly, I guess the focus from an event perspective had to shift towards the slow green play, and all the focus was, well, let's just obviously park World Bowls for now, because there was it was announced that World Bowls wouldn't be going ahead, and the likelihood would be at this stage, it would be maybe pushed back towards after Birmingham Commonwealth Games. And I mean, especially if you've never played in a major before, it would have been definitely hard news to take. But in saying that, hard news to take for everyone, because I always say it, as a kid, from a kid that picked up his first bowl at 14 years of age, I'd train my absolute backside off for that moment to get the call up for that world chance. Whether I played for Australia before or not, or played in other majors before, my big moment had come around again, and for a virus to sort of create a detour of that, everyone was pretty upset, but no one's fault other than a virus. And like I said, the crew, the selectors, the high performance staff were great in just keeping the communication up. It was really brilliant. I must admit, when I look back on it more, we didn't know where we were going, so it was great. Enter Birmingham. Yeah, we've got to shift the focus. Slow greens. So I go down to the local Palm Beach Croquet Club. Excuse me, mate. I've got a new focus in life. It's trying to get picked for the Birmingham Commonwealth Games in a couple of years. Any chance I can jump the fence when no one's around? I'll wear a mask. I'll sanitize. I'll do what I need to do. But I need to borrow your slow pitch of grass here for me to start training for Birmingham. This guy looked at me like an idiot.
Yeah. It's so common, isn't it? Like, that's what a lot of the guys have done. Malaysia, even back in 1998, I remember Brett Dupre talking to me about doing that. He flew to Darwin before they went over to Kuala Lumpur and trained up there. Yep. I remember talking to Jesse Nerona in preparation for all that. He was down at the local cricket oval, just rolling up on the cricket square.
Absolutely, and I just said, well, once again, you've just got to write down your goals, put everything front of mind, be accountable to it, and make it. And it's hard because there's so much going on in other people's lives, but you've just got to figure out what your main priorities are. You've just got to. And because if you don't, especially don't write it down, a goal that's not written down doesn't exist. And I just said, once again, bang, on the fridge, let's go. Line through sort of world champs, quick greens and Broadbeach, let's go. Birmingham, slow greens, let's go. So, I worked heavily on my delivery over the years to be confident and able, I felt, to be able to play on quick and slow. And so when the shift became to Birmingham, I was ready to go. So with Queensland being the most unlocked down state, all the folks sort of doing the camps and the training up in Queensland, and Mount Tambourine put on the greens there to have us prepare. So, I was ready to go for another major. But, getting back to your question, World Bowls, unfortunately, couldn't go ahead in 2020. And, it was a huge focus for all of us. And it was unfortunate that, I didn't ultimately get to play in it.
Yeah, but you made, like we said then, Birmingham 2022, you made that, Mitch. You got your third Commonwealth Games, nearly 20 years from the first one. So all credit, like not many, like I said, not many people can stretch it that far. But the fact that you were out and brought back in and still managed to get that, it's just all credit to you, mate. So, and also then your first Commonwealth Games overseas, the first time you get to go for a trip. So, what was that call like, mate, when you finally knew you'd made it and all those hard yards on the croquet lawn that actually paid off?
Yeah. I remember, going back to the Mark Cowan days, Robbie Dobbins, people that had helped me with my technique and stuff, Gary Willis, obviously Glass, and just really drawing on all my experience on slow greens, Hong Kong, South Africa, Malaysia, all that stuff, and knowing that, you need to hold your step, you need to get a little bit more tempo at the top, and, the words I use is more dynamic press or more body weight moving forward. So, really got a bit fitter again, worked a lot on my legs, and I knew I wanted to be really strong below the body, sort of below the hips. I needed to get that strength in there. And we went over to our trials at Birmingham in, I think it was May 2022. And we flew out of Darwin because we couldn't do the long leg out of Perth with COVID and that. So we all fly to Darwin. We go Darwin to London direct, 16 and a half hours. So we were told... So we were delayed 6 hours getting out of Darwin, and we arrive in Heathrow, and we're still taxiing down the runway, and the pilot comes on and he says, "Ladies and gentlemen, full flight, big Boeing 777. I've got some bad news." And now I'm a good flyer, don't get me wrong, and I've flown a lot, but there's one thing I never want to hear from a pilot's mouth is I've got some bad news. Luckily he said it when we're on the runway. Luckily he said it when we're on the runway. He said, "I've got some bad news." Before we left Darwin 17 hours ago, we were given 3 options. Be it delayed for another sort of 6 hours because of the Ukraine-Russian war and flight paths and all that, fuel and whatever, or take 40 people and their bags off the plane, or put no bags on the plane at all. And, when you go to Commonwealth Games trials, you're taking 2 sets of box.
Yeah.
Because, you got a seek and destroy mission to happening. So he says, well, we chose the third option, no bags on the plane. So
you flew 17 hours without knowing that your bag wasn't on that plane.
We flew all that way and we arrived and we get to the carousel. Whether you flew business or not, there was no bags.
Wow.
And luckily, through preparation, once again, I packed a couple of extra spare jocks in the backpack I had my deodorant, toothbrush and toothpaste, and I had my sort of mobile little showering kit with me. And but I mean, yeah, if you didn't sort of come prepared, you're in for a bit of a sticky situation, so to speak, for a couple of people moving forward. But
goodness.
So I remember jumping on the bus, and we get to our Holiday Inn in Leamington Spa there, and we all went shopping straight away and stocked up on jocks and socks and clothes, and yeah, our bags turned up 4 or 5 days later.
4 or 5 days.
4 or 5 days.
Oh man, I remember it was hard. We did. We talked about this the other time, but last time I flew home, we did the Perth to London leg. So we did, and Heathrow's a lottery with your luggage anyway, mate. It's just chaos. But when we finally got to Belfast, we were off the plane, and unluckily enough, Yana, my wife, her stuff hadn't arrived. But luckily, we knew it was still in the UK. We got it later that day. But if we used to go 4 or 5 days to fly all that way, not even knowing that, I suppose it's a good thing, because I wouldn't want to be flying all that way going, what am I going to do?
What did you do bowls-wise, Baz?
Oh, well, yeah, Simon. So you couldn't believe it. The next morning when we get to Leamington Spa, the venue, for Com Games, we're sprinting out of the bus, to get to the storage shed or wherever there might be some bowls laying around, right?
Classic twos laying on.
And there wasn't a big selection, to be fair. And so we rush into this greenkeeper's shed, and there's cobwebs and, old bowls bags and that. And I just pull out these size ones of, I don't know what they were, size ones, but they all had 4 logos the same. They looked the same, so I said, "This will do.
This will do now."
So I thought, with them being slow greens, UK in May, sort of that 10-second mark, I thought, well, maybe I'll just chuck some ones up the middle and see how we go. And I end up trialing pretty well with them. And once again, to the selectors' credit and coaches' credit, they knew that we would working on the run a little bit, but when our gear turned up, we wanted to have a real good look at our equipment, because I used Aero Maxims, the real wide ones, plus the Aero Grooves. So I had the ability to sort of have a look at 2 different lines. But we reached out to clubs in the area and that. And so we managed. But it was one of those really good experiences about, just once again, if your preparation's derailed, are you ready for the contingencies? Do you have your plan A's, B's, C's ready? So, I mean, you just don't know. And we leading into that trip, we had a great camp at the AIS where we learned about hydration strategy for long flights and glucose levels and, the compression socks. Now, I can't fly long distances without the compression socks now. And, I mean, just things like that. So, because they wanted us to be the best version of ourselves, as soon as we jumped off that plane the next day, day one of the trials, off you go. And learning all that stuff was really, really super.
Yeah.
And that's where, once again, high performance has evolved from back when I first was there to it is now, and how the Australian high performance crew and staff are always trying to go one better and find a way. And that was something that helped me a lot. I must admit, just knowing how to prepare better for long flights and all that is been great. And you want to be ready to go. Not much you can do about jet lag, but I mean, you can still hydration and all that. It's different. Nutrition.
Yeah, that's a big part of it. Yeah.
So we trialled, and I trialled really well, and I was really wrapped. Probably, I look at all the camps and trials over the years, probably up there with that New Zealand one where I was playing quite well in New Zealand. But I was wrapped with the way I trialled on the slow greens, and we had the para guys there, and it was brilliant. A really good couple of weeks, and we flew home, and once again, within not long time after that, the team was announced, because it was a short turnaround from those trials, because it's very seasonal over there with the outdoor greens, as you always know. And the games, we're back over for the games sort of mid-late July, so it was only a sort of 2 or 3 month turnaround.
Yeah, nice. So obviously, after all that turmoil of actually getting there for the trials, it was probably pretty sweet to know that you'd actually made it. It was all worth it in the end. So Birmingham 2022, we get there. So talk us through that experience. From what I can gather, fours and triples again, being the front end specialist that you were. Fours didn't make it out of the group from memory, but the triples again all the way to the final. You were the only player in that final who contested the previous Commonwealth Games final. So you were Twisty and Carl came in for Omar and Lurch, and then this time you faced England instead of Scotland. So, I mean, how was that whole event culminating in that final?
Unfortunately, couldn't get the gold. A lot of good stuff to take away from that game. In the end, we got back level pegging from being, I think, once again, I've never watched the final. I've seen some sort of snippets, but I think it got at some stage maybe 12-2, 12-3 down. So to be able to claw our way back to be level pegging and be a chance for gold, it showed a lot of character. Gaz Willis was on the sidelines, sort of helping out with just keeping us positive and making sure that, we weren't neglecting opportunities and stuff. So it was good to always have coaches on the sidelines. So Gaz was good that way. Carl had a real hot streak through the middle, and Benny and I were doing our best to sort of, just him play his skip role, my lead role. So once again, wasn't meant to be, but geez, the English boys played well, and Cheddars, Jamie Chesney played some crackers.
He was on heat the first part of that game.
Yeah,
he was on heat. I remember watching that back and, geez, this is not going well for the Hussies.
Yeah, and I mean, when you're sitting there too, you got your role to play, but you're going, wait a minute, this guy's come to play, and we've got to try and nullify that. But one thing I'm always been super grateful and respectful for is, and it's not always smooth sailing when it comes to the crowds you play in front of. Even domestically, you get a few hecklers every now and then, and that's all part of the experience. But the English crowd were phenomenal; they were brilliant. To play against their home three and just fall short. We were clapped off the green, lots of thumbs and well dones, and then wherever we went for the next few days, all the English crowd, all the locals are coming up. What a great game! Gee, Aussies have got to be proud. You fought back hard. You never gave up. We knew you'd come back, and I mean, there was no gloating or skylarking or anything. It was just, and I must admit, I was not surprised, but I thought there might have been a little bit more favouritism to the English crowd in that way, obviously with their bowls, but in terms of the personality in that. But the English crowd were great, and they were a really good crowd to play in front of across the 2 weeks. And when Disco rips his shirt off, and even Alan rips that bowl out to win the pairs against England, extra end, one of the most phenomenal games you'll ever see. I mean, Kelvin Kirko's gold medal match 2006, I could watch that game every day for the rest of my life, and the women's pairs. And look, there's other games too, but some games just stand out. But that one, we were treated. What a game that was, and then the way and Alan played that bowl to win, and Chrissy's determination just to play great bowls towards the end. But so I mean, here I am once again talking about all those other experiences and these sort of derailing the conversation a bit. But I mean, that's what it is. You're just sort of living and breathing in the moment and the environment, and super proud of Carl and Twisty, their first games, and we played good. We had a great tournament, just fell short, and once again, under those environments, you go away, you debrief. Unfortunately, you've got to find a way to sort of not let it hang over you and your sort of purpose to move forward. And unfortunately, Corey and Disco didn't make it out of their section in the pair. So, we got our silver. Corey and Disco didn't get their sectional win, and we were like, well, we want to go one further for us, try and get that gold, but we want to see Corey get his first medal at least at Commonwealth Games too, and Disco try and go back to back. So there was enough. There was enough motivation in there.
Keep going.
Very tight knit group. The camps were great leading up. We formed a great relationship, and we close your ears, Simon.
Oh no,
we didn't feel complete our game against Ireland. Unfortunately, lost by 1, I think, or 2, and didn't play all the ends. We got timed out in our last game of our section in the fours. So we didn't get through there. Irish boys beat us and went all the way. So I mean, that's always sort of a bridesmaid clause there, where or some kind of form of acknowledge that the team that beat you went on and won it. So we'll wrap for them. But couldn't quite get it done in the fours. Gutted for Corey, didn't get a medal. And then, it's sort of gutted. We couldn't go one further. And then, obviously, all your energy is just, as soon as your last bowl's played, it just shifts to whoever's still going across the para format, across all the other disciplines. It's, sit in the crowd, get amongst your team and cheer on Australia. So it was just great to see, once again, other successes and know the hard work they'd put in. And, you're talking Alan and Christine. I've seen them since under 18 days. Disco, Aaron Wilson grew up in a country town half an hour from me. I mean, Corey, all these guys, seen them grow up, and once again, they're on that journey too. Like a Corey now. He's trying to chase another Com Games. And so's Carl. So's Twisty. Disco's trying to go for maybe 3 in a row, and they've got the young blokes nipping at their heels, the Nick Cahills, the Jack McShanes, and you know what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a really exciting time to see where that goes for the players and how much work they're putting in and what that team looks like. So I get to sit back now and not have the stresses of where my bowls finish. I get to watch your Com Games, and I'm super excited. Can't wait to cheer on the Aussies. So, but yeah, that was a great games. And then at the end of the games, because we're still focused on COVID, we didn't go to the closing ceremony, and everyone flew home, bar me and Corey. So Corey went over to Spain. I was meeting him the next day over to Ibiza, because both Corey and I and Gary Kelly, we had a pact. We said if we make the Com Games for Birmingham, we'll have a few days to go and let our hair down in Spain. But I got a really weird phone call at the end of the game saying, Barry, you've been selected to receive the federation flag and hand it over to the Victorian Governor to open the next Commonwealth Games. And I was given that honour for the entire team of Australia, not just for the bowlers, but the whole Commonwealth Games athlete sort of village. So that was, my greatest off-green accomplishment from an individual, to be given that honour and to grow up in that Bendigo area, born in Bendigo, and know the bowls was going to Bendigo when the Victoria Games once again was meant to be scheduled. That was an incredible honour to go up there in front of millions of people on the closing ceremony and hand that flag over and then jump on the plane the next day and catch up with Corey and Gary over in Spain. And I mean, I say that too because, I fist pump a lot, and I like to be up and about and cheer and all that. And why not? If you're working hard and you're putting in the time and effort, if the boss gives you a raise, why not celebrate that? So my raise is if I win a game or win a title or get selected for something, fist pump it, celebrate it. You've worked hard for it. Be proud of yourself. Be proud of your achievements. And the beauty of the Australian Jackaroo's culture and environment is we share in each other's successes too, and we support each other. So it's great. And that's my role now at Club Kawana. It's been my role at Burleigh. It's been my role for many years now in team environments to sort of take that position and try and help other players be better and get the best out of themselves. So, so why not have a few days in Spain to celebrate all that hard work, because before you know it, you've retired and you're sitting on the TV watching others do it, sitting on the couch watching others. So, live in the moment, celebrate your wins, acknowledge your losses, learn from them and move forward. So that's how I sort of seem to see it.
Yeah, nice. All right, mate, 3 Commonwealth Games, put you on the spot. What's your favourite? Which of the 3?
Yeah, probably Gold Coast.
Yep.
Home crowds. It was my first games to have my wife Miranda there and her family, my family, sponsors, close friends, all that. And Gold Coast, great greens, great environment. And to do it with long-time mates in Omar and Lurch. And, like I said at the top of the show, Omar and I debuted 2005 together. So fast forward 13 years later, we're playing the Com Games together. So, there's a lot of good in there and just a really good games for achievements and all that. So, that would probably be the one that sticks out to me. And just know that when I got off the mat in the fours final after my last bowl, we had sort of a fingertip and half a hand on the gold medal. And then Scotland decided to play a couple of big shots and trail some jacks and do what they needed to do to win the gold, but know that we were just so close. And but once again, to be able to see the Para boys win their gold, and Joshy, you've known him since a young age, and Josh went on a health kick and did ice baths. And I mean, I know the work the athletes put in, and like I said, Omar and I and Lurch and Wiz and all that, and Disco, real good mates. We catch up, play golf together, hang out. So look, from a real mateship point of view, that one. But in saying that too, I've got great relationships with Twisty and Carl and Corey and all that moving forward. So that'll be just the one for me, mate.
Yeah, nice. Going back to Birmingham in the fours, mate. I doubt that you'll be the first team to be timed out of a game that included Ian McClure already. So I wouldn't worry too much about that.
No, Ian was fine, mate. It was probably me chasing Bolt down
You
the green or
treated him?
something.
Oh, no.
Probably getting a bit too excited. But, yeah, I mean, no one did anything wrong. It just would have been good to finish that game.
He doesn't. But Ian's known for it. But he's a legend of our game, mate. We'll have to have a slide dig on him. Simon's going to see him in a couple of weeks. Make sure you give that to him, Simon.
I'll make sure I get that snippet of it.
I mean, I coach it. I time people. We've got to find the time where you get the optimal performance out of you. But I was coaching a guy. I said the other day, 17 seconds is your mark, mate. You're 17 seconds from prep to delivery to get the best out of yourself. But Macca, he's been a great because of what he does. He stays in his own lane, takes his time, and why not?
No.
But I mean, we had some good battles over the years, and love Macca, love the boys, and I'm sure Simon will catch up with him in a few weeks.
Like Ian got mentioned in the GOAT conversation last year as well at Northern Ireland. His longevity is out of this world.
Yeah.
Like the first big event, first big thing they won was the British Isles triples when him and Jeremy were still under 18. And here he is now. He's still in contention for all these Commonwealth games. So he's a dead set legend back at home. But you're definitely not the first team to be timed out against him either.
You said it, mate.
Yeah, I said it. And Simon will make sure he hears it too. Okay, mate, so we return home in 12 months' time. The Worlds on the Gold Coast is coming up. So what happens next for the Jackaroos once you get back from Birmingham and looking towards the World Bowls?
Yeah, so once again, just we go to the Australian Institute of Sport and we do some testing and some training, and we have a reset and review. So we review the Birmingham Com Games and we reset World Bowls.
So at that stage, Baz, at that stage, then, are you still thinking that you're in Worlds? Or was there a point prior to that where you're basically told the selections might be open-ended again?
Yeah, that was basically the moment where you knew that every player now
is fighting for a spot.
Is fighting for a spot, and once again that transparency was really good, and it wasn't in an email or anything. It was great. It was just good to be able to sit there in front of coaches, selectors, high performance staff, and that, and just go, all right, guys, really exciting. We're going to have a quick debrief on Birmingham, and then let's reset for World Champs. So, you probably your heart sinks a little bit, in terms of I think my spot might be in danger here.
Yeah.
But then also acknowledging that,
challenge.
We are 2022. We are at least a couple of years since that selection. There's been a lot of water under the bridge. So, I mean, you just got to acknowledge that and understand that you're in a professional environment. There's a program now put in place for the World Champs moving forward. And like I'd been doing for all my career, you just got to look at that, embrace it, accept the challenge, and go for it. I mean, obviously, like I said before, do I wish a virus didn't come along and stop me from playing my second Worlds? Of course. Yeah. But I mean, it wasn't about me. It wasn't about, any other player or it can happen in the Olympics. It would have happened in other sports. It could have happened in work environments. People would have lost their jobs and never got their job back. I mean, you just got to be real about some things in life, you know? The moment you get bitter or looking for excuses, I mean, how's that going to help anything? So we do at times. No one's perfect, but in that situation, it's like, all right, you got to puff the chest out again and say, all right, I got picked for it once. I'll show that I can get picked in it again. And as we were looking at dates and times, and World Bowls gets announced that it's going to be Gold Coast, I think, August 2023. We had time to prep and get in, and wasn't my time to be able to get picked. As we said, Corey's come on.
Yeah.
Carl's maintaining great form and all that. And fast forward from Birmingham to World Champs, from the original team, I didn't sustain my spot. I didn't maintain my spot. But from Birmingham, Twisty couldn't hold up his spot to make Worlds. And Corey came in and jumped on the mat and did a phenomenal job. And I can say this because he's a good mate of mine. He jumped on my mat, but he did probably a job I couldn't have done. I mean, the way he played and the show he put on to win those 2 golds and see those boys have so much success. Once again, I couldn't be there as a player. I was so proud of Corey to take on that role too. The multi-nations leading up to World Bowl selection, I won a goal with Corey in the triples. I led for Corey. Corey skipped. Corey played back end right through the multi-nations, and then being the great player he is, the flexibility he's got, he picked up the map and he put on a clinic up front right through those world champs, and he won those 2 golds with the boys. And I'm interviewing the boys after the games, and I'm struggling to keep it together. I'm having a bit of a teary, bit of a cry, and once again, it wasn't meant to be for me. But I'm looking at when I interviewed the triples boys and interviewed the fours boys, I'm looking at my teammates, I'm looking at close friends, and just saying, how proud I am of them, and especially knowing what Corey'd been through with his father, and being best mates with him for a long time. I was rapt to see him get that big win, and the rest of the boys. So it was a great world champs, and I commentated the whole 2 weeks. And if it's any consolation, if I wasn't playing, to be able to have the mic in front of me those 2 weeks, geez, I wrote every bowl for him. And well done to the Aussies. And as I said to the boys the other week when I caught up with you, maybe there's some events where I got picked where I probably wasn't ready, debatable.
Yeah.
Or, maybe wasn't playing at my best, or I was, but as it would be, that multi-nations, 1 gold there with Matty Lucas and Corey Wedlock, sang the song, and that would be my last game for Australia.
Yeah, well, I was going to say there, mate, because you moved on from it, you celebrated with all the guys, but from the original 5, you were the only male that didn't get picked. So it must have been, at the time, whether it lasted half an hour, 2-3 days, there must have been a bit of a bitter pill for you to swallow and go, I understand I had to go again, but why just, am I the only one that missed that type of thing? But you did say, Twisty was in for the Calm Games, he didn't make Worlds, but from the original 5 for 2020 to go back to 2023, and you were the only male to miss out. I think Tash maybe was the only female to miss out. Must have been a bit of bitterness there.
Yeah, and like,
not bitterness.
Like,
I mean, it would have been tough to take, I'd say, Baz.
Yeah, I mean, initially you want to see your name come up in the message or in the email, or however. I think it was a message at that stage for that selection. You want to see your name, and I knew that. Yeah, okay, you'd moved to Queensland, and you really wanted to play in that Worlds, and you knew how close you were, an extra end or a few millimetre away from that gold in 216. And at the time, of course, you're distraught. You're like, wait a minute. But as I said, once again, through the professionalism of the HP and the program, there wasn't any sort of curveballs, if you know what I mean. It was all laid out in front of you. Yeah. That's the joy of being in the program. 6 and 12 and 18 months, however it looks. So when my name didn't come out, I was very upset. I broke down. I was obviously shattered. I didn't get picked, and the hard one was probably to fathom was, I mean, my 2 weeks at the Multinations, I really did feel like I played unreal.
Yeah, and
I remember Corey and Matty Lucas and all that saying, "Baz, yeah, you're playing great," but you don't get picked, and you start sinking in that, wait a minute, that might actually be it. That, you look at it, 2023, at that stage, especially around sort of that COVID-ish times, no one knew what the next games were doing. There was no games. Canada had pulled out of 2020, 2030. No one sort of knew what the calendar looked like for the next 4 or 5 months, because no one could know.
It was just all over the show, wasn't it?
Situation. So that's when I turned to Miranda. I said, I think this moment has come. I think just missing this selection, and getting to be able to sing that national anthem that last time, winning that medal at Multinations, and sort of maybe just handing the reins over to a Corey to jump on that mat and do his role. I remember, I was pretty quick about it within a few weeks, chatting to the health and well-being support. Billy was great. Once again, coaches and all that, and then start preparing for those words. I'm retiring. So,
yeah. Well, that was going to be one of the next questions. Just how quickly after that, like, I know Omar used his controversial sabbatical that time as real dark motivation, as he puts it in the podcast when we talked about it, and he went on an absolute rampage. Did that ever cross your mind, or was it just straight away, right, get over it? Okay, good luck to everyone there. What point then? Was it before those games or just after those games that you have had that retirement thought? What time was that?
I kept playing in everything, as you do, Australian Opens and that. And I mean, a little bit ironically, the Australian Open in June 2023, me, Corey, Omar and Teasy, which was the original World Bowls Falls we win the Australian Open fours. You know what I mean? So the following year after they won gold. So I mean, you know, it was great to be able to say, well, we never got that world title together as a four. And I thank Teasy, Corey, and Omar for giving me the opportunity to play in the Australian Open fours with them. And we said, you know, let's get that fours, and we got it. So we got that fours last year. And so for me, once again, I could sort of just be real about everything. Go, wait a minute, I'm playing with unbelievable players. You know, sort of pinch me moment. I've won the Australian Open fours with what was meant to be the original World Bowls. Maybe that was just meant to be that way. But never bitter, never point fingers. Once again, just transparency in the program. Work with the people around you, the high performance staff, and all that. And then they're just, I don't know, it's weird. You hear it all the time in other sports. When did you know? And I mean, it's just crazy.
Yeah.
You know, you just sit down and you go, I think I'm retiring. And I go, and then, you know, you sort of mentioned to Miranda, you mentioned to a few different people, and then you start sort of using that word a little bit more, and then you start to be comfortable using it, and then you're like, wow. And then you go, wait a minute. Geez, I've been at this for, 18 years, 17 years in this environment, sort of looking at the calendar next few years. All right, I think it's time. You know, just still play your state, your BPLs, your UBCs. Keep enjoying the game. And, you know, won't you really get stuck into blessed and coaching and equipment and start really doing some career stuff and tackle that as a new adventure. And I remember ringing up Gary Willis and saying, Gaz, I'm contemplating it, you know, sort of what does the program look like moving forward? And he said, yeah, look, you know, we'll have a bit of a think about it and call me in a week and we'll go from there. And then called him back in a week and I said, yeah, I've actually had a little bit more time to sort of let it sink in. And Gaz, I'm retiring, mate. And yeah, Gaz was obviously a bit of silence and then it was into, we started going into planning mode. So, on how I was going to announce it and the whole process of that was, first class as well.
Yeah, well, you did that at the Ali Shield in 2023. How was that? Standing up in front of all your peers and saying that's it? That's basically, that's your exclamation point on the career when you actually tell everyone.
Yeah, and I mean, you can do a media story or a social media post or something, but to be able to stand in front of all those men and women that I played with and against from different states, I got Jackaroo's teammates next to me that are wearing New South Wales colours, Victorian colours, whatever, Queensland colours. So I thought it was a great place to do it. But it was more so just to say, yes, I'm retiring, but also to say a high majority of the people in this room, new and old, you've helped me along the way. Because I look back on old social media posts when I've announced that I've been picked for a Com Games and World Champs, and when there's 200 or 300 or 400 likes in there, you go through the likes, and there's quite a number of people that are playing state bowls against you, and relationships you made with, and people have written a comment, "Good on you, Baz," or "All the best, mate," and that's what the game's about for me, and it's about those handshakes and the stories afterwards, and that's where I want to get up in the room and say thanks to everyone, and say someone in this room, many people in this room have contributed to me to be able to be and what I've done in the game, and I thank you all, and that was great. So I really felt really good with that opportunity. I made sure I did it the day before the medal ceremony. I didn't want to take any focus away, and then but I retired there in front of everyone, and I got a nice watch, nice Seiko watch from Gaz. That was a nice little gift to say well done, and
nice. And
a beautiful framed piece. All the Jackaroos get now when they retire, that hangs proudly up on the wall to sort of be able to reflect. And I mean, geez, the catch ups and the communication post my retirement too. The health and well-being was really good too. So 6 and 12 months after retirement, Baz, just checking in how you're going with it all and all that. So I mean, that stuff the general public doesn't know about. But,
no, that's great to hear, Baz, that type of stuff, especially now with mental health as a whole, but men's mental health being so prominent now. To hear you talk about that, and that's what they actually do for you, that's great to hear.
And career advice, and Barry, just if you can just call up Bowls Australia if there's something we can help with you for you moving forward as a former Jackaroo. We're on the end of the phone. So
for them to give you the advice to go and work with Jeremy Henry, that's pretty good advice, mate. So that's all credit for that.
Yeah, exactly. No, but look, it's the whole exit process is just as important as the entry and I guess the mid time. But yeah, it was great, and I just miss catching up with some people regularly, but staff as well, But yeah, when we do catch up, we always try and have a bit of a trip down memory lane and a bit of a catch up. But it's good memories and great times.
Awesome. Well, mate, we're getting to the end of the sort of the career stuff before we talk about the off-field stuff or off-green stuff. But mate, just sum it up for us. An international career that went from sort of 05, 06 through to 2023, 3 Com Games with 4 medals, 1 Worlds with 2 medals. You haven't gone away to any of those majors and not come back with a medal, mates. That's a feather in your cap, along with Karen and Nathan Rice, the most medal bowlers at the Commonwealth Games for Australia. Mate, just very quickly, how would you sum up your career?
I really do feel like I got the best out of myself. Grew up in a town with 600-700 people. It wasn't many opportunities. One school, one pub, one milk bar, one little bowls club. If you fast forward to when I'm 41 years of age, saying I'm going to win 4 Com Games medals, playing world champs, stay on the day, sing the song, travel the world, and meet people and just embrace the opportunity of being an international athlete. I would have laughed at you as that little kid going to school and wagon school to play bowls. No, mate. My old man used to always say, you'll only get out what you put in, and I reckon I put in a fair bit. And I reckon the game gave me a fair bit back too. So, and more than medals, and it will never be about medals. It never will be about titles or medals moving forward as well. So it's unbelievable journey, and I'm very grateful for it.
Very good, mate. Last question, just on the career. Not so much any regrets, but is there anything you feel like you might have left out there, or anything you wish you got more out of the game, or you're happy you've done it?
I probably the biggest thing I struggled with sometimes was the desire and hunger to keep getting back up. There was times where it wore thin, whether it was a missed selection or a medal that wasn't quite the right colour. And we probably get picked on it. We probably struggle with it a little bit, us, man. And you spoke about mental health there, DJ. There was probably times where I didn't probably reach out enough, just to sort of really tell people how I was feeling and where I needed maybe some help. Very, very lucky with what I was surrounded by and by who and what resources. But don't be afraid to ask. Don't be afraid to reach out and really tell someone or tell people what you need help with and what your desires and wants are. So when I didn't do that enough, I felt that took away a little bit of hunger at times. Yep.
There you go. That was a pretty good one. It's not about winning a gold medal. It's about looking after yourself and looking after that a bit better. So that's good. Right, mate. Moving on quickly. Still playing the BPL. Right, you're one of the faces of the BPL, mate. Now, your career's not over. You're still heavily involved in that. International stuff's gone. You're still pushing for maybe state representatives. But, mate, what does that event mean to you? We've sort of touched on it. How much of those on-green antics are for show, or just because Barry's enjoying himself, Barry's put the hard work, and I'm going to do it. And, mate, do you feel the BPL? Yeah. Well, one, what does that event mean to you? And the second one, mate, is do you think the BPL is doing what it's supposed to do, what it was designed to do? Do you think it's been a success?
Yeah, I remember the first BPL. I was at the gym. I'm on my bike, just riding the bike, and I watched the BPL for the first time on TV back in whatever year it was, and I went, "Ooh, I got to get on a team one day." You always want to try and get selected for something or win something. But once again, you got to put in the hard yards. And I finally, off the back of 217, number 1 player in Australia, and that I got the call up, Melbourne Roy's, and I was like, oh, let's go. It's showtime now. It's time to really get up and down that green and put on a show, and obviously with your bowls and your personality. But, what a great format, great spectacle. Yeah, the more I've learned about how to sort of play well in the BPL is about, controlling your emotions and knowing when to really celebrate and when not to. I walk out. Every time I walk out, I do this onto the camera. Now that's for Travis, my brother Travis. He's my biggest supporter, along with the rest of my family. And when I say biggest, I mean obviously my wife, my support crew. That they back me in. But Trav, he's been through a lot, had a tough life, had a bad car accident when he's a young fella, and I get out there and I give Tommy and Trav the tea, my two brothers, and I've got a Brett, my brother Brett, sister Sydney, and my other sister Renee. I haven't found a way to incorporate a T in all those initials, but
Jeez, mate, you give a lot of thought to these things.
But that's my little sort of sign to the crowd. I just do a little T. You'll see me do it. But I'm going to announce something on the show. I never really sort of, look, the BPL's been amazing.
Yeah.
We won back-to-back 2022. Then we won last year.
Yeah.
So to be able to win 22 and then 24. And then, I mean, I love playing with Gaz and Alan. Alan's a superstar and playing under Jeremy. So that's where I belong. It's where I'm playing. It's where I'm playing moving forward. I'm looking forward to playing the next sort of few events. But I'm going to do something that Calvin Kirko told me he said he'd once do. I once played against Calvin and Brett years ago, Brett Dupre, and I took my shirt off. And Calvin Kirko said to me before 2006 Com Games, he said, Baz, if I win gold, I'm going to take my shirt off. And he did. Disco's now been brilliant. He's done the legacy piece, 18 and 22, taking his shirt off. When we win the next BPL, it's coming off, baby. The shirt's coming off.
I had that lined up for later because of that story, but your legacy with that. But yeah, awesome. Well, I don't know whether I want you to win or not. As long as Gary keeps it on, we'll be right.
No, he's into Jezza, the coach, the whole team.
Oh dear, mate. Oh dear.
Obviously not Alan.
No. Oh, let's leave that one there.
The shirts are coming off, all right.
But it's been a great event. I mean, it hasn't it's done. It gets like. Do we want to see more out of it? Has it done what it needed to? What do you reckon?
Oh yeah, I mean we've got it to 5 nights or 4 nights now, prime time. And we fill out the surveys. We're always looking to adjust things. We've got more games now, more international players. There's been a bit of a wanton need for some fresh faces. And I think there's been a good rotation there and some more rotation moving forward. And the new franchise, you got Nicky Bretts and Paul Fosters and that. So fantastic. Yeah, so I love it. Love the excitement, love up and down the green, just playing to the cameras. But it's the day games that people don't see too, unless you're watching the live stream, and that you're playing day in, day out, long games, 22 games, and it's a war of attrition as well. So you need to be bringing your best games of a night and at the end of the tournament. So I love it. Love the BPL. Hopefully it only grows to bigger and better where, it might be 2 or 3 or 4 times a year or it branches out into other formats.
Yeah, nice. Well, good luck with the next one, mate, especially on Pine Rivers with that seam down the middle. Just keep an eye out if you've got any drives going.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Love the seam.
Yeah, love the seam. Yeah, there's plenty of footage of that. Simon might share that in the show notes. All right, mate, moving on. Moving on to you and your personality, mate, because you look media-wise and that you're out there, you're involved in everything. Love the sport, but Simon and I have spoken about this a lot. We can't think of a bowler out there who's been able to market themselves the way you have off the green with your partnerships and things like that there. Is that something just from Barrie the person, or is that something you got help from with being in Jackaroo camp? Was it an educational thing? Or have you just basically gone, well, no, I reckon I can do this?
Yeah, well, I mean, very, very young days, early days, being a scholarship holder at the Victorian Institute of Sport, I think that in a perfect world is a generic thing. I mean, it's state by state based, but somehow if we could, make that generic, that if you're in a Jackaroo or you're showing signs of being a Jackaroo or a Commonwealth Games World Championship level athlete, that yes, to be able to get that scholarship at the VIS, amazing support. And I know Bowls Australia would love to see that happen with Queensland Institute, New South Wales, WA, and I know they're working hard on that. So what they did for me, like I said, when I was broke and pretty much nowhere to live, they got me a job and got me back on my feet. And then they gave me education on how to publicly speak. I did some courses there, and then I did some courses around branding and selling yourself as an athlete and all that. So I learned a lot through there and did those courses of an evening sitting in the VIS. So, but, I lived in a state where, unfortunately, a little bit less opportunities in Queensland and New South, and that not as many big clubs, and wasn't really sort of the known or given thing that, you get a big contract and get paid to bowl and stuff like that. So, I sort of always held down a job and didn't sort of be able to have that opportunity to work in a club and stuff so much. So I thought we're going to have to offset some income to pay for things by trying to sell myself as a brand and create opportunities for sponsors. And I was mentored by a few different people and always sort of had that 70-30 rule that when you're around business people and around people that know their stuff, make sure you listen for 70 and only talk for 30. And because you really don't know when the next hand you shake could change your life, and you want to know the person behind the handshake. And that's a quote from a gentleman from many years ago. He used to always say to me, you don't know what's behind that handshake. And my life's changed from various people I've met and from sponsors or job opportunities or whatever. And a mate of mine, Desi Ryan, used to play for Richmond, worked at Bowls Australia. We worked together at Bowls Australia. He helped me create the Bless brand. He said, Baz, look, you've played in some comm games. You played for Australia. He said, that's all good and well. He said, but now you need to own that tag. Whether you've had the ultimate success of a world title or comm games or whatever gold medal, you play for Australia, mate. Only a handful of people get to do that. And he said, now let's create the brand and go out there and start doing some public speaking and partnering up some brands. And I started to learn that side of things, and without the partnerships and sponsors, there's no way I could have sustained my position as a Jackaroo. There's no way. And it's tough going. And along those lines, I knew that it required a bit of social media, a bit of education, and I was willing to take that on and do those extra steps because I used to fly to Queensland and play winter pennant.
6 a.m. just to get the reps in.
6 a.m. flight in the middle of winter and come home on the 7:25 p.m. flight out of Gold Coast and give up my Saturdays, not hang out with the boys, the mates, go to the footy. And I was driven. I wanted success and I wanted to get the best out of myself. And when there wasn't much money coming in, I reached out to sponsors and found a way to brand myself. But between the VIS, Bowls Australia and sort of being mentored by some people in business, it was great. And then I got my brother-in-law, Dennis Armfield, played 150 games for Carlton. When I met Dennis, he was really great to fill me in with some of his experience being a professional athlete as well. So just being that sponge for information and just knowing that, to survive, you got to survive off the green. You got to pay the bills. You got to eat. And if you can't find a job that can suitably do that, you got to market yourself and find a way to get some partnerships with sponsors. And Aero Bowls, working with Bowls Australia. I've been very lucky to work in some environments that help that.
Yeah, beautiful, man. Like we said, we were going to touch on the Bless stuff there, but you sort of said how that came about and that. And it's all about, it's not even just that partnership stuff and the media stuff. It's all about your coaching as well, which you got a real passion for. So just talk us through your Bless coaching, mate, and how much of a passion that is for you. And if you've any big announcements, now's the time.
I just announced, I guess, off record, but I'm happy to talk about it tonight online. But with my recent trip to the UK, I had some meetings with people over there and did some coaching. But out of nowhere, I didn't expect to lose my job at Burleigh Heads. But once again, you just got to get back on the horse, as they say. And I thought, well, maybe it's the time to go out and branch out and try and look to do Blessed full time, which I did. So required a lot of traveling, but loved it. Went interstate, went overseas, and went to clubs in the middle of nowhere. But I didn't care. I wanted to help people get better. I wanted to motivate people, and tell them that anything's possible. And so that's part of my job. Bowls, leadership, excellence, skills, and training. That's the words the Bless banner sits in front of. And I've had to build a website, build a brand, and all that. And now I'm selling some equipment. So many years ago, I used to do a lot of training and felt that how can I be a better driver and a better weighted shot player? And I was sick of having to grab my bowls out of the ditch, rub the synthetic or rubber off them, take the sand off them, and think, geez, how can I do driving with scoring and be better at my timing, my tempo and all that? So I've invented the bowls bumper, the Blessed Bowls bumper, and it's going to be online in a few weeks' time. I've taken it to Hong Kong, I've taken it to the UK, and I've signed up some ambassadors, and we're going to launch very soon. So stay tuned. It's an invention that I've put a lot of time and effort into that I believe is going to help individuals and clubs out there all around the world be better at hitting, because it's just an area of the game that isn't practiced enough. And I really want players to believe that they can be better hitters and be better at it, and really take their game to another level, knowing that they've put in the time and effort at driving. So it's a foam scoring wedge that sits into the ditch, comes in all shapes and sizes, bespoke to each club, and can't wait to get it out there to the public and help bowlers all around the world. Part of my coaching, selling the equipment, and now it's been trademarked and patented. I'm really keen to get it out there and show the world.
Yeah, nice.
Does it come with miracles? Because I think DJ would need a miracle with it. And
I forgot you were still here, Simon. Nice for you to join in, mate.
Bumper. Make sure you get one up to Maitland City, please, Baz. Get one up there for DJ.
I've got a 5 footer. I've got a 5 footer for DJ, and I've got a 3 footer for you, Simon.
mate, if you can give me a 1 footer and put Simon's face on it, I won't mess. Tell you now. Bring it on. He's a tough lad from down there in Canola, isn't he?
No, we'll sort you out, boys. We'll get a couple with some branding on it.
Yeah, beautiful, mate, beautiful. Righto, mate, we're going to talk about the state of the game in a second, but just more about you off the thing. You already spoke about Travis. He's a big reason you do what you do. You've got Miranda, the wife, mate. Like, talk us through Travis. Talk us through Miranda, the woman behind the man there, and what they've done for you and the motivation they give you too. I mean, she's followed you from Victoria to Queensland for dear sake.
Well, that's it. And we've both been individually through some ups and downs, and there was a time there when Miranda, she sort of had to change career paths, and we both sort of said, well, as we do that, maybe it's a chance to move north, and I'm super proud of her with her hair and makeup business, and how she continues to once again get the best out of herself with her business and back her skills in. We love it up here now in Queensland, and just knowing you got people in your corner, like I said, family, loved ones. But my brother Trav, a lot of opportunities were taken away from him at an early age, 19 years of age, in a horrific car accident, left for dead. And he survived, in intensive care. And, a part of me, obviously, is what I do moving forward. I try to wear mum's sort of heart on my shoulder, and a part of me sort of says, well, my brother was restricted an opportunity to get out and live his best life. And so I'll try and, take him on the journey with me. So I spoke to Trav for an hour on the phone today, just while I was driving. So, really lucky to have all my family in my circle. So from Cindy, Brett, Renee, Trav, Tommy, all through my life, we've been big supporters of one another, and from an individual sense and athlete sense, they've always been there. So, it's been pretty lucky to have a great support crew around me.
Absolutely. And you've had a couple of moves since you've been to Queensland too, mate. Like you said, unexpectedly, 2023, lost a job at Burleigh, moved on to Broadbeach and now at Kawana, mate. Can you tell us much about those moves and the clubs that you've been to?
Yeah, well, I was working full-time for myself, and Broadbeach reached out, and, fantastic opportunity there, and to Simon and the crew and Omar for sort of really pushing it, and Jay, what he's doing at Broadbeach. I mean, amazing club, and they gave me a marketing role, and they really supported me as a bowler and someone that could sort of work in their own business environment away from the club. So that was great. And we had some good times together. So Broadbeach was great, and thankful for the opportunity there. And when the full-time role came up at Club Kawana as a coach, and doing a few other areas, working on getting a junior academy off the ground and helping the program build up with Jeremy Henry. Jeremy and I are old Tarrant Point Premiership Premier League teammates. We go back to, I first met Jez 2006 Com Games, so 19 years. So we've been good mates for that time, and I get to work alongside the great man, and still see him stroke an unbelievable bowl. Still one of the best players I've ever seen, and he's a good boss. And look out what Club Kawana can achieve. We're already in the UBC come this December, and look out for Kawana Thunder. Really excited to have Kane Nelson on board with us too, and great club, going places. So bring it on. Yeah,
nice one, mate. Good. All right, mate. Obviously you've got blessed, but what else can we expect from Barrie Lester away from bowls? What's next for you, mate?
Yeah, I'm very lucky. Over the years, I've been given a few opportunities to do commentary. Went away, did some media training, and I really enjoy commentary. I enjoy giving a player's perspective to the viewer. I like talking about the percentages and the ins and outs So I really do feel that it's a passion of mine to do commentary. So this year, Australian Open was great, World Champs a couple of years ago, and once I got a really good taste for it, I want to do more of it. So moving forward, I'll do the Champions in Barham next month down there on the border, and then head over to Malaysia for the World Cup. Great event that'll be. 12 countries, men and women, the pairs,
6-person team event,
and then got some really cool things up our sleeve in terms of commentary and trying to bring some tech to the world and to give some really good insights from the players and the environments and stuff to the viewers. So all won't be revealed now, but I'm working from a playing sense and commentary sense to try and help the game grow in that department. So really excited about that.
Well, leads us in well into the state of the game, mate. How do you feel we're going? How's the game set up at home? Any changes you think we need to make here in Australia just to start with?
I mean, it's just fantastic how we've really fully embraced now barefoot bowls and just a few other parts of the game. I mean, the Premier Leagues now that are happening around the states working together to see that there's no calendar conflicts. We all want a fair slice of the pie. We want the big name players in all the major events. So communication between the states is transparency is what we want. And I think that's what we're getting now. We're getting more of it. So it's great to see. And yeah, I think the game's great. I personally would love to see the format of the sport played the same around Australia. I'd love to see that conversation probably come up. I'd love to see Pennant be the same way and played the same format everywhere. I think it's just a great way to brand the game and promote the game, knowing anyone that enters the sport in any state or territory in Australia know they're going to get 12 men, 21 in Pennant, or 12 women. So when I see 16 somewhere or 25 N somewhere, I just think that it breaks up the brand a little bit. Yeah, and I mean, I know we're our own states, but I just think that from a number one product perspective, and people know this, I've said this plenty of times, I'd just like to see that happen one day. I think it's a really good way to say, hey, basketball's 5-a-side, soccer's 11-a-side, cricket's 11-a-side, and bowls is 12-a-side in Pennant. And let's just leave it at that, and let's all embrace it, and let's now go out and promote that product. So that's, look, no one's sort of, anyone that knows me well knows that I've always said that, but
we've said that all here fair bit. Like, it's just, we need consistency to sport.
Yeah, it's just a branding thing. That's all. I mean, there's no fault. It's just saying, hey, let's raise the topic, and do we think it would be better for the game? So I'm pretty sure big marketing companies out there are huge on their branding and making sure there's that continuity everywhere they sell that product. And bowls, I think it's big for that, and Pennant is our number one product. So yeah, I mean, look, it's in an amazing place. Participation's through the roof. The support the para side gets now and focus it gets. I think social media now with different platforms is brilliant. So I think the game's in a really, really good spot, and I think it being in the Commonwealth is great. World Bowls is firing. The social media for World Bowls and the amount of events coming out of World Bowls is very exciting. So I'm super excited to see where the game's going, and I really do put my spectator hat on now. I can't wait to watch some of these events as well, and who knows, sky's the limit for where we could be. And that word Olympics keeps popping up. Let's aim for 2032, and hopefully we can get there. If not, be right on the edge of that conversation.
That's my next question, mate. Commonwealth Games future. Obviously, we've had to adapt this time around because the guy that you handed the flag to decided not to hold it anymore down in Victoria. So Glasgow's picked it up. We've gone from 17 sports down to 10. We've managed to stay in there. From your perspective, Baz, how's the future of that look, and what do you reckon our chances are with this Olympics? Is it a chance? What's going on behind the scenes that you know of?
I think once again, it's the work Bowls Australia's doing and World Bowls, how they're lobbying, having the discussions, and I know that there's many discussions happening with countries about getting the sport off the ground for the first time. Yeah. And when you do look at some countries, you think, wow, only if they took up bowls, one, that they've got the population, two, we feel it wouldn't be too hard to get the facilities, whether they start on tennis courts or whatever. And then three, that they would be good at it. We go back to 2010, India, really quite new to lawn bowls. What's that? India, 3 Commonwealth Games later, they're winning gold medals in Birmingham. Yep. So perfect example of from little things, big things grow. And that might be Italy, that might be whoever in 3 or 4 games time. And so I think the great job Neil's doing there at World Bowls, working with Bowls Australia and all the other countries, I think it's progressing pretty well from what I'm hearing and seeing. Not that I'm, in any behind the scenes conversations, but yeah, it's great. Let's see it happen. Let's make it happen. And they built those greens in India back in 2010 for Ecom Games. Let's hope countries listen to World Bowls and Bowls Australia and other countries out there and say, hey, look, let's do it. Let's try and make it happen here as well. So fingers crossed, mate.
Well, we had that chat with Brett O'Reilly and Neil on our last podcast, mate, and even the portable rinks are going to have a big part to play in that going forward as well. And that's what we're going to see in Malaysia at the World Cup too, with the 4 portable rinks on the indoor, as well as the undercovers as well. So it'll be interesting to see how that goes. Very interesting to see how that goes in Glasgow. Yeah, as you said, mate, and we'll not go into too much, but technology is going to play a big part in the game, so it'll be interesting to see. You've let us know sort of offline what's being worked on. We'll keep that there. We'll keep it under wraps, but by all means, if some of that comes to fruition, mate, it's only going to help the sport. So by all means, looking forward to it. Baz, that's pretty much it for all the big questions, mate. Thanks for your time. It's been awesome. So just before we wrap up, we'll go into the usual quickfire stuff that everybody wants to know. Alrighty, so make, model, size of bowls.
Yeah, aero bowls. So I'm down to a 3 now in my old years,
Yeah,
30 years of bowling. Down to a 3. I mean, my left hand, it's just it's had enough. It's had enough of bowling over the years, and it's a bit under tension now. So just worked my way down to a 3. So 3 heavy, clean grip. Always been a clean grip bowler, but been with aero for 13 years and love using the bowls.
Yeah, nice. Best greens you've ever played on?
Yeah, there's so many good ones, but probably the place where I've always sort of gone to over the years where you're going to get a huge selection of good greens is in South Australia. The Tiff Dwarfs over there, the temperature, Adelaide sort of across sort of that Sydney height, around there, as you look across the Australian map, and the climate over there in Adelaide, played over there dozens of times, you're always up for a good tiffy, sort of 16, 17 seconds. So anywhere across my career playing in Adelaide, I've played on some amazing tiffies. If I pinpointed to one club, I mean, I think of Wayne Rudiger's club, Grange, or Holdfast Bay, those kind of venues. Lockleys, where world champs were 2012.
Yep.
But then, I mean, there's a section of Australia, and please don't be offended if you're not in this section of Australia, but there's some beautiful greens out there. But I think anywhere from around about Sydney to sort of Sunshine Coast, I mean, that opens up a huge area, I know. But when you start talking Park Beach, you start talking some places, Ballina, then you go up into Broadie and all that. I mean, there's just some beautiful tiffies, and you're probably hit with the ultimate, where we know Broadbeach have just been able to produce beautiful greens non-stop for so long. So, I mean, you can always turn to Broadbeach and know generally Australian Opens, whatever main event I've ever played in, that they're going to have probably arguably the best greens in the world.
Yeah, awesome. Favorite player to play with?
Yeah, I'll go with Joshy Thornton.
Yep.
I mean, it's the question isn't arguably the best or whatever, or at various reasons. And a close second would be Gary Kelly. I mean, Joshy, a favourite player to play with, because knowing what he's been through with the setbacks early in life, I know him as a close mate. I was in his wedding party. He's been a best mate of mine. He's been a mentor in life. He's a confidant, different things. He's just been a great friend, and we've experienced a lot together. Obviously, going to Potters together. I saw him sign his first autograph when we got the Potters. It was so funny to see. People walking up to him, and you got Paul Foster and Alex Marshall embracing him. They didn't know much about Joshy, and I mean, that was his real big step on the world stage, and to get over to Potters and see him do his thing. So we've been on some good journeys together, obviously Australian Opens and all that, and then to see him do what he's done across his career. But I'm still lobbying for him to get a state cap. I think he's good enough to play for Victoria in the Open team. I'll always lobby for him to get his Victorian Open cap, and I hope he does one day, if he continues to try and push for that or be around that area. But Joshy, and then of late, the fresh one in mind is just Gaz. Gazza Kelly, 3 BPLs together. I went and visited his family after Birmingham in his hometown in Ballymoney to meet his mum and dad and his uncle and see his hometown and all that. I've we formed a great relationship, and it's something that it's been a great enjoyment, a great ride since we got together as teammates, and love playing with Gaz, and he always seems to get the best out of me, and I always say, mate, as long as I see your PWs, I'm happy, and you'll see him smile, the pearly whites, Gaz. I just got to see those pearly whites, mate. So
he did text me and say, I hear you're interviewing Barrie. You better say my name because I've carried him to 3 BPLs.
Oh, really?
He said that.
Look, he, once again, we talk a lot on the phone, and we try to catch up as much as we can. But we got a great relationship, more than just on the green. And anyone that comes from a place where that beautiful liquid called Guinness comes out of the tap, they're a good person. Don't worry about that.
Good on you, mate. All right, any players that you hate to face for one or two reasons? One, they're just a hard competitor, or two, they grind your gears.
I don't know if it was a left-hander thing, but I couldn't get over Mark Casey in some big events, in some big singles events. Every time we sort of fronted up, I couldn't seem to get over Case. Probably had a couple of wins here or there in team events and that, but Case was always, I don't know, I just looked at Case and went, oh no.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was, like I said, a lefty thing, but Mark Casey, prime Mark Casey, same thing, just absolute freak show, and doing it at an early age too. Mark was already at 19, 20, 21, 22, a big name in the world of lawn bowls. So Case was always a hard player to play against, and I couldn't sort of find a way past him. Annoying, not really. No one comes to mind being annoying, but all I say is anyone you play against and anyone that you want that plays against you, all you want them to do is just respect one another. That's all you can do. Don't go riding bowls and acting silly. Just respect the game, respect your opposition, and play hard and fair. That's all you want to see.
Yeah, stop cheering Wicks, Simon. All right, favorite club to be at, Buzz?
Obviously Club Kiwana right now, but look, I couldn't mention go on the show without mentioning the mighty Tarrant Point. I got a phone call off Wayne Turley many years ago, and he said, Barrie, Bazza, we want you to come and play Premier League for us. I just thought, wow, why me? And Turles did say, I'll tell you why. He goes, obviously we want you to come up and play front end for us, but we want a bit of character, we want a bit of culture, we want a bit of X factor. And I was honoured with him just to sort of say those words too. And he goes, come on, mate, you come up and play for us. And my first season, we won the Premier League there. And that was an unbelievable moment in my life to win win the New South Wales Premier League, and in the final to see what was now 15 internationals. And we're going to get that game on YouTube for everyone listening. We're going to get it on YouTube. The 2008 Premier League Grand Final, where we had a big win against St John's Park, and it was I'm pretty proud to say I've had a long and close connection with Tarrant Point. So always a good club to go back to, and I've made great relationships out of the members and the players there.
Did you feel bad this year helping relegate them from Platinum?
Yes, of course, but I wasn't just our doing. You don't want to see any team be relegated. But where Tarrant Point's been the last 20 odd years, right at the top, it won't take long for them to feature where they need to be. And you walk the four walls of that club, you just know you're part of some great things. And I've had a little bit of part of that history, and I'm sure in 2008, in 2028, we'll try and get the crew together for a little 20-year reunion for the Premier League win, where Jeremy Henry put on a clinic. So stay tuned. We'll definitely get it onto YouTube.
Yeah, cool. Righto. Favorite country you visited with the Jackaroos?
Probably for me, it was we did that Wales Scotland tour 2013.
Yep,
it was a good fun tour. Great group of people.
Yeah, nice.
To be able to go to Wales and I've got some sort of long distance family from Wales, so it was good to be able to go to Wales. So that was always one for me.
Yeah, nice. Best friend off the green. I think I know what's coming here. Best friend off the green. Anyway.
I caught up with him today, and I don't like to say the best friend, but I called into Ballina today and caught up with a friend of mine, Matty Voss, or Matty Dogood, Bossy. He's not a bowler, but we've just been mates. Used to live together 20 odd years ago, and been there through all the thick and thin. Great mate of mine. So Vossy's a great mate of mine, and And in bowls, well, yeah, I mean, I like to catch up with Omar as much as I can and Lurch and all the boys for a game of golf. But yeah, very lucky to say I've got some great mates away from bowls that are in my corner. But yeah, love catching up with mates I've made in bowls too for a game of golf, or just meet at a beer garden and talk about the good old days.
Yeah, cool. Hobbies off the green then?
Yeah, golf.
Golf.
I went all the way to Northern Ireland to watch 2 days of the Open Championship. So no, I love my golf, and I'm just learning to DJ at the moment. So just getting into a little bit of mixing, and just I love my music. So I just love taking the dog down the beach too. I love wide open spaces.
Yeah, nice. Mate, favorite footy team or code, or favorite sports team?
Yeah, blue is the colour. London bleeds blue. Chelsea.
And that's it for the podcast this week, folks.
Pride of London. Love my Blues. Chelsea. Yeah, since I went to my first game years ago, love them. And my favourite athlete would probably be Ronaldo.
Yeah, right. Very good. Very good. Did you play any other sports when you were younger on the high level, or what level did you get to?
By the time I got to about 20, I gave a lot of sports away, but probably my other favourite sport was basketball. Love basketball, but I played a bit of under 16 rep AFL football. Sort of made a country rep team. So at a state championship level. So that was probably all I did. But
well, you have to. You get kicked out of Victoria, don't you?
Yeah. I mean, there was only a couple of people from my town that got picked for that team, so that was pretty cool. And my other two brothers were better footballers than me, and they didn't get picked in that team. So
no, I'll take that.
So the Tommy and Trav bad luck. They won best. They won best and fairest. I didn't. But I mean, no. I played all sports growing up, but bowls was obviously the one that I ended up doing okay in.
Nice, right on, mate. Favorite food, favorite drink.
Favorite food. I love Italian. Yeah, just your gnocchis, your meatballs, and anything like that. Your linguinis. Love Italian. Always hunt down an Italian restaurant, and some nice red to wash it down. Nice deep Shiraz. And the more I drink it, the more I fall in love with it. Guinness. Absolutely love it. And look, we can't get a real good one in Australia, but I mean, if you can find a half decent one, I do love. I love a pint of Guinness and try and split the G.
Yeah, nice. You mentioned Italian food there again. You mentioned Italy earlier in the podcast. Just to brush you up on that, Italy won't be in the Commonwealth Games, boss.
I know. Damn.
I let that one slide earlier, but I couldn't go without mentioning it. All right, favorite holiday location, mate?
Just wherever it's warm, but yeah, definitely last couple of years being able to get over to Bali, just a good sense of culture and shopping and doing all that. So yeah, it's not too far from home. So really like Bali, getting over there.
Cool, mate. If you hadn't had the career you had in bowls, what do you think you would have done?
I always did say as a kid, I always wanted to sort of work in sport as well. So maybe I might have done some sports commentary. I remember even as a kid, I used to sort of commentate AFL and other stuff.
Yeah.
I was a bit of an entertainer as a kid, so I did like to entertain mum and dad and their friends and stuff, telling jokes and just acting like an idiot. But the other one, the main one, it would have been some form of. Can't believe I'm going to mention this. I would have been acting. So
I'm shocked by that, Barrie. Man, I just fell over.
I know. So yeah, wherever there's a TV, mate. And look, I will say this, and I was now on Neighbours. So I was on that. I've done everything I could. I have even contacted head office, the production company and everything, to find the episode where I was on Neighbours with Margot Robbie. I swear on everything in my life, I was on Neighbours with Margot Robbie back in 2008. I was on the Erinsborough Dingoes football team, and I was on Neighbours. And Paul Foster, you tell Paul Foster, he's like, no way, it's like my favourite show. I said I used to be on Neighbours as an extra. I'd be doing weights or having coffee in the background. And, so, I mean, I probably missed my acting career and not doing enough of that, being on Neighbours and all that. So
it was massive back at home, wasn't it, Simon?
Yeah.
It was huge back then.
Mate, I did it all. A footy team, Lassiter's, I had a couple of bit parts where I had to speak to camera.
Yeah.
But I was definitely in the same room doing, we were at Lassiter's and Margot Robbie was there. And to Aaron Tees, because he loves Margot Robbie, mate, I was definitely on Neighbours with Margot, and I'm going to find that footage one day.
Funny enough, I seen an interview with Margot the other day, and she said, I was in a room with Barrie Lester. No joke.
Yeah, don't think so. I don't think she's scrounging around for the footage.
No, I don't think so. All right, mate. If you could change one rule about the game, what would it be?
Changing equipment. Probably changing equipment during a game. Yeah, I mean, if it's changing a racket, cricket bat, changing your tyres, Formula One, it's just a case of probably when people hear that, they go, really? Changing your bowls to a tighter or wider line or whatever to compensate the fact that the green's now underwater and when we go back out, you want a wider bowl. I think once if at the start of the game, you just let the umpire know, I've got another set here. I'm just letting you know if I choose to change somewhere throughout the game due to the conditions, I will let you know. And once the umpire passes it, you just go to a different set of bowls. I can't see how it's a big deal. Like I said, Formula One changing tyres or tennis rackets. So it's probably one where you hear it and you go, really?
Yeah.
No, you can't change that. But I mean, we were probably saying that about something in the game 10 years ago. So for me, I'm with Aaron Sherriff. I've heard him say that. Yeah, I'd love to see it. And I mean, more players have got more sets now. And yeah, sometimes you just don't know. In the morning, it could be damp and dewy and slow and pushy. So you use a wider bowl. And in the afternoon, it could be dried out, flying and fast. You go to a tighter bowl. And you might need to do it during an actual game. So
some people might want dimples when it's wet. Some people might not. You want size 3 if it's wet, size 4 if it's normal. I don't see an issue with it either, mate. But as you said, like, you wouldn't have seen coloured bowls in the mid-90s, would you? You wouldn't have thought there'd be coloured bowls, and then that's all you see now. So
yeah. No, just little things like that, and we'll probably, if it does ever happens, we'll probably stop talking about it. And I mean, I look at Test cricket now. We've got names and numbers on the back. When that came out, everyone's like, "No way! What are they doing? Why is there names and numbers on the back of Test uniforms?" And now we don't even talk about it. It's just the normal. So, and I mean, it's not make or break whether they do or don't. I'm just saying it would be a cool thing because I know now, and the reason, big reason, and I must sort of express the reason why too. Not 30 years ago, it was mainly just grass greens everywhere in Australia, right? So you sort of knew what you're going to get. Yeah. Now you can go and play at a tournament, and there might be 3 different surfaces at that club, and then you might, so you might want to take a couple of extra sets, and then find the set you just used last game, you're 4 ends into using that set again. The next game, you go, well, no, I don't want to use that. I want to use another set. So we've got synthetics, carpets, indoors, outdoors, covered greens, non-covered greens. So to be able to have an array of equipment with you, I think it's a good thing.
Yeah, fair enough. All right, mate, being a coach and everything, advice for all the bowlers out there aspiring to be the next Barrie Lester?
Just be willing to learn and educate yourself. Like anything, if you want to be good at it, you've got to be willing to read books, jump on YouTube, watch games, look at techniques and stuff. But understand for me that the game of bowls is obviously tempo and timing, but the word biomechanics is probably the word that just isn't mentioned enough in this day and age in bowls. Lawn bowls is completely driven by biomechanics. The way you deliver a bowl requires weight control with your body, movement, arm speeds, tempo, planes, you name it. So it's all biomechanics. So understand biomechanics and how your body works and know that, not just with the speed of your arm, but how much body weight and all that you're using, you need to invest in that and understand more about it and then speak to your coach about it because it changed my game. It changed my career in 2008 when I played in Malaysia. I took a pendulum delivery to Malaysia and I was pretty much a joke. I played terrible. And I came away from that and learned how to be a bodyweight bowler where I moved forward and it took my game to another level where I could play on slow greens confidently and know that, from quick to slow, it's a different setup. So, and I'm learning all the time. But now with the sports science heavily involved in the game, it's an exciting part. So I think anyone out there, invest more time into that and don't roll up, train. You've got to train. Train to be better. Roll-up's fun and all that with your mates, but you got to understand training's where you get your improvement.
And Simon's taking notes for the Bulls Academy right there now, so he is biomechanics.
Perfect.
Will be the next blog post. You want it?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, mate. We've been here for a couple of hours. Now it's time for the big question. Rate the What a Load of Bulls podcast out of 10.
Much needed and 10 point. How high can you go after 10?
Well, mate, after you just declared your love for Chelsea, you better go to 1,000.
Alrighty,
yeah.
So, I mean, look, it's not a head wobble moment for you guys, but you should. We want more of this. So well done. And away from family, friends, loved ones, or whatever, doing your bit for the sport. So well done, and we need it. And I just simply say to people, press the share button, and whether it's you're watching a live stream game, you might have said to someone, recently or post watching that live stream game, oh, we need more members or we want more people to take up bowls, and you can just press share, and just by sharing that into your social media feed might get a friend of yours taking up the game. So well done for having a podcast, for getting, an array of interviews from athletes to admins. So well done. And I can't commend you enough. And I know all the time and effort that goes into it. So well done. And everyone out there, give it a share and just share the message of lawn bowls as much as you can, because we know how much we love it. And if we can spread the word, we're on the right track.
Absolutely. I mean, that's the whole reason we started it. We just started, what can we do? We like talking rubbish to each other. We put it out there. Next thing we've got likes of yourself and Neil Dalrymple, Brett O'Reilly, Aaron Sheriff, Wayne Turley all coming on to have a chat with me. It's been great for us too. So, mate, thanks for giving up your time. I know it's been a tough one. A few things going on this week. You've had to travel to Port Macquarie. You've had a 6.5, 7 hour drive today. So we appreciate you sitting here for a couple of hours. But also, I did see on social media about the earthquake earlier in the week. When I seen that, I panicked, man. I rang Simon straight away. I was like, mate, I hope Barry's all right. I hope he can still do the podcast. And Simon says to me, he goes, don't worry, he just dumped one. So is there any truth to that? You just out in the green, you dumped one up a Koana there? No?
Slipped out. There's a bit of moisture in there. Slipped out of the hand, mate. I'm going to have to get looking to get in a bowl.
Did you miss the blast bumper? Is that what happened? Was it not wide enough?
Yeah, hit the backboard and shook. But biggest earthquake in 50 years in Queensland. Who would have thought?
Yeah.
And 5.6 on the Richter scale. But no, we lived to see another day, and here we are, mate. So, thanks. Like I said, thanks for having me, and it's been great to tell a few yarns. And I mean, I could go on for hours and hours, but we've covered enough time. And when you're looking at Series 2, give us a call.
Oh, 100%, man. And I'm looking forward to catching up with you in Malaysia when we go over for the World Cup too. I'll try and get you a commentary gig with me.
Yeah, nice. No, definitely. If we can share the mic, that'd be fantastic.
That'd be a good one. No, honestly, Buzz, I know it's been a busy week for you, so thanks for getting up your time. Not only this, but last week too, when we got together, had a catch up, got to know each other, put the questions together, mate. I really appreciate what you've done. It's given us a great insight into who you are. I hope it gets the justification through the podcast of what it deserves too, mate, because there's more to the bowlers than what we see on the BPL screen, what we see at the World Championships, what we see on social media. Like, you've really opened my eyes to who you are as a person too. Like I said earlier on the podcast, just the deep thinking that you actually put in, the amount of work that you've honestly put into your career and not only that, the setbacks that you spoke about, the setbacks you told us about you didn't speak about, for you to get to where you've got to, mate, it is a real credit. And congratulations to you, mate. And like I said before, just thanks for coming on and giving us that time, mate. It's really appreciative. It's going to help us with what we're trying to do.
Pleasure, gents. Yeah, well done. And thanks for having me on the show. And thanks for all the listeners for supporting it. And yeah, it's been a pleasure sharing my story. Thanks a lot.
Pleasure, mate. Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Well, everyone, that was Barrie Lester. It's great to get that time out of Barrie. As you can see, some longer episodes than normal, but Barry's been through a lot. He's done a lot. He's involved a lot in the sport off the green now as well. Real passion for the sport. So really great insight into Baz. Really happy with how he opened up for us and just let us know what made him tick. Certainly didn't know the half of it, so it gives you shows him in a different light from what we normally see on BPLs and live streams and things like that, Simon. So you knew him a little bit beforehand, obviously, but that was my first real getting to know Baz over that podcast, but then the preview we had the week before when the three of us sat down and had a chat. So very impressed. Like I said, he certainly showed himself in a different light to what we normally see.
Yeah, definitely, and he gave us plenty of tips there as well throughout both episodes this week and last week, and plenty to take from, and he had plenty of little quotes in there and little motivational things, and obviously, clearly, that's what he does in terms of his coaching things as well. That he does a bit of speaking, and he definitely has a lot to give. And if anyone wants to get in touch with him, jump onto his website, get in touch with him, and see if he can help you out in terms of coaching stuff. And no doubt, he will definitely help you in some way if you get in touch with him. Yeah, give him some support and definitely have a look at his new product and that he's going to be bringing out pretty soon. So we'll make sure we'll have a good shout out about that when it becomes live on his website as well.
Might have to have a challenge. Maybe might have to have a live stream challenge.
That'd be really good. Yes.
Driving competition. Like I said, get your face in the middle. I will not miss. I can tell you that now.
Yeah, we might have to get that happening, eh?
Mate, what a couple of episodes that was with Barry. It could have went on longer. It could have. It really did. We were getting late into the night. He had a 6-hour drive and still sat down and talked to us about it. But just really enjoyed hearing about that 8-year period in between, mate. Of like, name me another Jackaroo that made their debut, played a Commonwealth Games, and came back, didn't make a major for 8 years, and came back and did it all again. He's medalled every time he's been away. Probably doesn't get the credit he deserves. Hopefully, this goes a long way towards giving him that, because they really did open up more than what we sort of anticipated and showed us the real inside of Barrie Lester.
And I think no matter what level of bowler you're at, you can relate to that. I think whether it be a club bowler, state, regional, if you get dropped off a side or you think you're out of the mix, it's always just knuckle down, put your head down. What can I do to get back in that team? What can I do to get back on that selection panel? Is exactly what Barry's done multiple times over his career, not just once. And those 2 episodes give us a great sort of look into that. And definitely, I could relate to some of that as well as through my bowling career. And it was nice to hear that the elite go through that as well. They're not untouchable. They're not, in terms of
absolutely.
their selection.
The positivity that just exudes from him with everything that he had been through. Like, it's enough to knock people for 6, that type of stuff. And Baz always just uses it as a motivator and just kept going. Didn't bother him, just kept going. Talked to who he needed to talk to. He real advocate of Jackaroo's camp and the things that they've set up for him. So it was good to see. And like we touched on as well, he's probably the one to speak to now, because he was there at the very start in the early 2000s when HP was just starting to come in. And he's there right up until the development of to where it is now. So that was a really good conversation. We said it many times, but thanks to Barry for giving that time, and he's more than willing to come on and have a chat again if we ever need to. So for now, we'll leave it because it's a couple of long episodes. We might give everyone a few months to settle down. We'll maybe catch up with him in Malaysia for the World Cup, man, and have a bit of a chat with him over there. So I will. You just stay at home there, but you're off on your travels now, mate. So safe travels. You're off back to God's country for a bit. For the family, so enjoy that. We'll have a couple of episodes coming up still, folks. I'll have a couple of guest hosts with me, and we'll see how we go from there. But as always, folks, keep that little disc on the inside,
and good luck on those greens. The views, information, or opinions expressed during What a Load of Bulls podcast episodes are solely those of the individuals involved and do not represent those of any group, organization, or employer associated or affiliated to individuals. This podcast is for general information purposes only, to educate and inform. This podcast does not constitute professional advice or services. What a Load of Bulls does not guarantee the accuracy or reliability of any opinions expressed or statements made within episodes.